Hello, everybody. How is everyone doing?
Good. I'm doing great.
Yeah, you look a little turned. I saw you doing a little dance during the song. You're
I got
excited,
matcha. I got
Mata.
matcha.
I
Yeah.
noticed the different cup. Okay, um,
hmm
Petty, what's going on? How are you?
Just having a good time. Just happy to be here. Hmm.
Look, I'm gonna need more from you, considering that every time you have something to say about how quick this part goes by.
I don't want to make this about me.
What?
Oh, I do have something funny that happened to me today. Today, is his name Taylor? I think his name is Taylor because I don't actually know his real name. Someone came up to me, and this has only happened in China where someone mistook me for a celebrity. But someone today asked me, a white lady asked me if I were Taylor Williams. Didn't know who that was. I went to Google it, and it was like the Everybody Hates Chris guy. And we look nothing alike. We might be from the same tribe. We don't even have the same kind of lips, so I don't know. But period.
That
If I think really, really hard about it, maybe.
No, no,
If
no.
I just really, really think about it.
got me.
Literally,
Mhm.
absolutely, there's nothing. There is nothing.
Can we get a picture on screen so we can?
I know. Like now I'm like, do y'all know?
Wait, don't you have? I thought Petty could put the picture on screen.
Here, let me see what I have here. I just want to see if this man resembles you in any way. How do we feel about this? How we feel about
No,
Okay, well, no, not really.
like what? I feel like they saw black. I feel like that has to be what they saw. They saw black and they were like, black.
Yeah, I think the only thing is like y'all skin tone is kind of around the same, kind of, but that's the only thing. Because when you
No.
first said it, I started thinking about, I'm like, maybe. Then when you showed him Petty, yeah, no,
it?
no.
Period. Just let them know. I'm kidding. I'm
Right.
kidding. That's not why. I just don't think we look alike.
Wake up, makeup. Slay says K. Hard eyes, hard eyes, hard eyes, hard eyes,
Hello,
hard
makeup. Hi. Where's Annalicia? Look, I can't deal with her phone situation today.
eyes. How come
Like,
K always? K
now
always
I'm
gets
like,
the
what to
compliment.
do?
Y'all are not about to drag Annalicia. That's what we're not gonna do. I think when she comes back, she can tell us how her day is or whatever. I think she's probably sorting some things out. But we can. Should we go
Just,
ahead?
I don't know. That's what I'm trying to see. Like, should we just wait a little bit and see?
We could definitely look at a cool TikTok that I saw today.
Okay, yeah,
Let's see. Let's see.
let's do that.
But if there's music in there, well, I see your thing
No,
says
it shouldn't be any music in it. Let me make sure.
let's see it. Are you playing it?
It won't let me pause it. Let me put this on the screen. Hmm. This is somebody called Tony Talks.
Hey man, I'm for this shirt. That one's 25 cents. Oh, no, you can put this back because I can find me a cheaper one at Walmart. Or you can put it back where you got it from. Honey, I would buy it, but I can find a cheaper one at Walmart. Okay, you do that. I mean, it's a nice shirt. It is. Okay. But the price isn't nice. Okay. But see, I know at Walmart, okay, there's a cheaper option. Okay. I'm curious, has that always been that price? Are y'all affiliated with Walmart? No. Because they have the same shirt. Okay. Just a different price. That's interesting, isn't it? No. Well, isn't that spooky? You can go to Walmart, honey. We're not going to stop you. Why would you recommend I shop at another store, not yours? Well, I assume that that's what you want. Manager, how can I assist? I'm experiencing bad service here, and honestly, I'd like this shirt for free. No. Excuse me? Our manager has left for the evening. Is there anything else I can get you? I have to go now. Okay. I have to go now. Okay. I have to go now. Okay. Do y'all have any discounts for this shirt? No. Okay.
Okay.
Is that what you spend your days watching?
Look, my day, excuse me, it was 40 seconds long. Yes,
Your whole day, Petty.
I will watch him all day if I could, but it's hard out here as a janitor. The bills are due. The bills are due. My bills are bi-monthly, so they hit right on Valentine's Day, and that's what I did for Valentine's Day. I paid bills. Anybody here did some good Valentine's Day activities?
Oh, I did. I had fun. I went to a Rihanna versus Beyonce battle where DJs were playing Rihanna and Beyonce's music. If you were on my Instagram, you saw it was lit.
Who won?
I didn't stay till the end, but Beyonce won. So
obviously,
I knew you were going to say that.
How you didn't watch the whole thing, but you determined that Beyonce won?
Did, because it was who did I dance to while I was there? Rihanna has more hits, I think, though. So
glad that you could join us, Annalicia.
It's the ghetto every week. Like I have to figure it out. It was a late night. We had practice. It was basketball. It was a late night. I had to rush. I couldn't get all my non-ghetto equipment together, so this will have to do. But hello everybody in the chat. Missed you. Love you guys. How goes it?
Everyone was just talking about how they are and everything, and we were waiting until you came back to get to you, and we were like, should we start? Is she going to take a long time? But you came back just in time because Petty was just playing a video to kind of fill in a little bit of time until you got here.
Well, thank you. So hello everybody. Good night. Good evening. I've missed you all. I wanted to address something. Oh wait, well, I'm okay. I'm fine. I got plans for Valentine's Day. It was a good Valentine's Day. Good everything's been great. Except for last week's episode. I got a lot of constructive feedback, a lot of really, really good feedback that I'm going to implement today. So you guys are going to see. But I wanted to address, I guess, the issues around my comment with respect to Fresh and Fit, AKA, I'm not going to say it. You guys know what I call them. I just kind of wanted to bring a little bit more clarity. I don't want to dig everything back up. I don't think that it would be a good idea, but just so people can maybe understand where I'm coming from. First of all, I want to apologize for being offensive. It's an offensive comment. I understand that. It's the wrong way to go. I also understand that. But from my position, whenever I hear the Fresh and Fits of the world, you guys all know who I'm talking about. There's a particular archetype, and they tend to be dark-skinned Black men. And when I hear them kind of going on and on about how much they don't date Black women, how much they don't like Black women, particularly dark-skinned Black women, it really bothers me. And I think for a really long time, Black women have not been fighting back. They haven't really been pushing back against Black men because, let's be honest, Black men can be tyrannical, especially online. They will dox you. They'll unload the clip on you. They have no mercy. They're merciless. And someone said it the other day, it's like Black women are trying to figure out a way to push back or to fight back against these type of Black men. But historically, and even now, they're fighting with their hands behind their back. It doesn't really seem like they have a lot of ways to kind of push back against the colorism that's being projected onto them from Black men. So my position as their preference is to just kind of use their worldviews against them. So that's my only position. It's not a position that I hold personally. It's not a position that I believe personally. It's just my way of pushing back, fighting back as their preference, knowing that there's not a whole lot that they can say or do because you prefer me, but I don't want you. So that's kind of, my hands are not tied behind my back in that way. So yeah, I fought fire with fire. It's not the best way to go. It's usually never the best way to go. And I apologize because it was inappropriate, but I'm not going to double down, but you guys know how I feel. I just don't want anyone to think that those are views that I hold personally. And I don't want anyone to think that I was talking about dark-skinned people. I was talking about Walter. Okay? Walter. I don't even know what his name is. What is it? Is he the fit or the fresh? Because he's neither. So I don't know.
Well, Wake Up Makeup Slay says she understands. She'd give them as good as they give. The chat seems to be with you, so I'm gonna call the chat bipolar today because they feels like they all over the place today.
Oh, your apology is gonna be incoming because you're being ableist and
I was about to say, don't use
I love you, chat. I love you guys.
terminologies.
And Wake Up Slay. Listen, I will unload the clip. Okay, hands are not behind my back. I got a full clip, and I just unload it. But Walter, I'm talking about Walter. Okay, Walter, just you.
Walter. Well, that leads us.
Walter.
It's a perfect segue into the first thing that we're going to talk about. Because I do want to talk about preferences versus requirements and how that can sometimes be problematic, or if people think it's problematic at all. But first, let's watch like a short TikTok of someone speaking on that. Petty, can you play that first one?
Oftentimes people try to avoid accountability or like their dating patterns and biases by just saying that's just my preference.
Yup.
That's just what I like. And I feel like critical thinking is imperative. It really is. And it's okay to have a preference, right? But I feel like people need to acknowledge when that preference is not so much a preference and is rooted in racism, colorism, or some type of like marginalized group phobia. Because normally that's what it is.
Preaching tonight.
So, what do y'all think? When people say they have a preference for something physical, not just like, I prefer a person to have a job or something like that, but not that. But in terms of like physical characteristics as it relates to hair texture, skin color, height, weight, whatever, are those things problematic? Like, or is it just whatever? Is their preference? Themis, what do you think? You're on mute.
I think that in dating, it's the one place you should, not the one place, but it is discriminatory by nature, right? Like you are selecting, you're trying to find a vibe. I don't mind people having preferences. It's the way in which we go about talking about our preferences that I have a problem with. It's degrading other people. I don't particularly like you talking about what you don't like, right? Just talk about what you do like. And there is a caveat to talking about what you do like. And part of that is to investigate why you like that which you like. And if what you like is rooted in colonization, having a colonized mindset, racism, that kind of approach to dating is what you're taking, I think that is fundamentally problematic, not just to you, but to the relationship. I think it's going to destroy any relationship if you're approaching it from that mindset. So that's kind of my rough summary.
And Alicia, what about you?
I don't have a problem with preferences. I have a problem when people conflate preference and prejudice, or I guess that's my problem. I think it's okay for you to want to be with people who look like you, right? And some people might say, oh, that's your preference. But historically speaking, we know that people date people who look like them. They tend to date people who are in their socioeconomic status. They tend to date people within, their academic background, with the same academic background or academic attainment. So to me, that's normal. That's a baseline. But when people conflate, this is my preference with, but I don't like this. That's preference is, hey, I like both, but I like this one a little bit more, right? When you are excluding people, and your basis for doing so is rooted in, again, like a colonized mindset, colorism, internalized racism, internalized hatred. When it's rooted in those things, then it changes the dynamic. Then it changes the word entirely, right? It takes on a different meaning, a more pejorative and insidious meaning, in my opinion. So have a preference. Be with people who look like you. Be with people who have the same amount of money as you, who have their masters like you. That's fine. But don't conflate, hey, I like both, but I like this one more. Let's not conflate that with self-hatred, with a colonized and self-hating pathology. Don't conflate the two, because they are different. They are not mutual. They are different. That's my problem.
Hetty, what about you? Because I have a question for, but you might say the same thing, like along the lines of what Annalicia and Themis said. But before I ask the question, let's see what you think, Petty.
Yeah, I am going to agree with both. I don't think people inherently have a problem with preferences. It's just that usually it never manifests outwardly as just a preference. Like they've both said, it's not, oh, I like thick women, that's just the body type I like. It's always, oh, these women are twigs, I would never lay down with a twig. Or it's never, oh, I just prefer, people are going out to get foreign women for whatever reason. I just prefer foreign women because of X, Y, or Z. It's never just that. It's Western women are terrible and I hate it here. These modern Western females and such like that. So I think the issue, I agree with y'all, comes from when people have to drag another group of people to be able to voice their preference, which you don't have to do. To also touch on what Themis said, I think a lesser explored idea is, why do you have your preferences? I don't think most people think about why. Like Annalicia said, people tend to date who they're around, which is one reason. But what about people who have a preference for a reason other than this is just what's close to me? You don't like black women. Why? Do you not like big noses? Oh no, I like big noses. Well, do you not like big lips? Oh no, I like big lips. Well, do you not like darker skin? No, Indian, Latin women, I like darker skin women. So what is it inherently about black women that you don't like, right? I don't think people really explore that. So I'll end there just so I'm not going on.
Before we move on,
oh, go ahead. Yeah, Themis, go ahead.
if their interviewer had the same preference in people they hire, I would, if it would be a problem then. I would ask if it would be a problem. I'm not sure what the question here is, but I'll save that. Sorry, go ahead.
I guess he's saying if an interviewer says, I have a preference in the color of people I hire, or maybe the height of people I hire, or something like that. Would you see an issue with that?
I wouldn't say so. Height, you can have problems with people's preference. I'm taking it out of an interview, because if we're doing an interview, then I'll make it about basketball. But there's a biological imperative for things like height. No, we no longer need it now, right? There are realities around why preferences exist. And so if we are thinking about why we want that, which we want, at one point it was about survival, blah, blah, blah. But color by itself does not mean much. Explain to me why you prefer someone who is light skin over dark skin. That's kind of what I like. What's the biological difference, and also what is the benefit for you outside of aesthetics? So I don't know. Yeah, it doesn't make sense to me.
So y'all talked about how these preferences can be due to like something that is problematic, how would people even explore that? Like, Patty, I know you said that people don't usually think about that, but what should people even do? Because I mean, if you grow up, you're watching TV, you're seeing the people that are on the front of magazines, you're seeing, the media, all these things. Would you say like, well, it's natural for people to have those preferences? Um, I don't know, like, how do you even address that when people are inundated since the time they leave their house with just images of people that look a certain way?
Interestingly, I would ask Black women to explain that one because, based on media output, every race of women should think white men are the savior and the hero, right? And so I don't know how it happened where media portrays the white knight to be white in terms of race, right? But Black women somehow still prioritize Blackness, and were able to stay loyal to the community. While it's true that every other community are more likely to marry within the community, other women will explore more than Black women. So I think this idea that like there's a counterculture within the Black community is true for Black women. And I think we probably should be asking how this came about. Like, how is it possible that the indoctrination of white superiority in terms of white men specifically, how did that escape Black women?
Go ahead. And Alicia,
No.
Raising your
your new strategies. Look,
No,
go.
sorry. Moving forward, this is how we're going to do it. But what I wanted to say is, I think in order for us to, because that requires a lot of critical analytical thought. It requires sort of an analysis of oneself, and I think that for Black men, that would be very, very difficult because, again, a lot of Black men don't see the issue systemically speaking, right? A lot of them think that the way that they think comes from their mom. It comes from the way that they were socialized. It comes from single motherhood or single mother kind of culture. I do think that social and political ideologies can inform us. And I think that, unfortunately, Black men, I don't want to say this. This is going to sound so bad. How do I say this?
Every time, is my mic better?
We can hear you, yeah.
I can hear you.
I had to switch my mic. It wasn't. Anytime you say this is gonna sound bad, I'm like hugging
No, your heart. No. Your heart should skip a beat. I'm not gonna say it. What I'm gonna say is, Black men's their worldviews are so warped. When it comes to, in a lot of ways, when it comes to themselves and it comes to Black people as a whole, and it's difficult to engage with people whose worldviews are warped and fragmented. It's difficult for them to confront where those views come from, and I think that Black women have been much better at doing these things because they didn't have a choice, right? If Black men are saying, hey, this is your fault, and Black women want to do better, Black women want to get married, they want to have families, they want to be with Black men, I think that Black women have done a better job of addressing some of their issues internally. But I also think historically, I think that Black women have always, and I think that culturally speaking, women in general are less, not predisposed, I don't know if it's a predisposition, but socially women, integration and assimilation are, I guess women are not as predisposed to those things as men, I would imagine, because Black women have always been pro-Black, they've always been Black power, they've always been Black love. always. I can't think of a time in history when it hasn't been that way. So yeah, it's black men's axioms. It's their fragmented and warped worldviews about themselves and black people and black communities. And it's difficult to engage those axioms. It's difficult to engage that warped worldview, whereas black women are more likely to do so, because the community and black men have been holding them accountable and holding their feet to the fire. So I think it's kind of a cause and effect.
Yeah, I think to your question, theme is that black women have always been like very race loyal, just in general, and I think that that probably has a lot to do with why the effects of media aren't as pervasive amongst black women when it relates to like dating preferences and things like that. So we're kind of all in agreement about. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I'm trying to prioritize a super chat so they don't
Oh
get
yeah, so
spoiled.
they don't build up. Good. Yeah.
Concerned said, not she happens to be white, centering who she is, or and she is white, her whiteness is a plus. Instead, it seems that it is because she is white, which dehumanizes all women involved.
Gotcha. Agreed, actually. Like she happens to be white, um, versus she is white, as opposed to because she's white, right? Like, I. By the way, I have no problem with interracial anything, dating, whatever. But if you're only dating because of someone's color, I think that's a problem across the board.
So when it's a requirement, let's say you were the requirement that someone has, would you feel a way about that? Like if
Yeah.
someone was dating you and they're like, look, I only date men with glasses and whatever. Like
Oh no, that's
like if
fine.
there was a requirement for whatever trait or physical thing that you have, how would y'all feel about that?
I mean, if it's black, if it's my skin tone, I'm gonna have a problem with it. But if
Okay.
it's like I only date nerdy guys with glasses, I'm like, period.
Okay, so skin tone would be a problem.
Yeah.
What
Or
about
my hair texture. Someone said that about my hair. Someone said something about my hair before that turned me off. It was a compliment, but it's like immutable characteristics. I don't take kindly to using it as why you like. Now, if you told me I am beautiful, period, I'm sorry. Anyone who don't think they're beautiful, I will take that as a compliment, and I love that. But like, not the random part, like my skin color, like yeah. Unless you're my skin color, then period.
So if someone was like, I just like kinky, coily hair texture, which is, I don't know that this naturally exists in white people, so that would be a problem to you.
No, if you think, sorry, the comment was, oh my God, you have such good hair. I was like, all right. And then they went on to explain why my hair was quote unquote good. And I found it like weirdly obsessive in a very distasteful way. So it didn't work for me.
Okay.
Petty, I see where you're going because this was like, so remember last week we talked about double standards and things like that as it related to like men versus women. So when we see people with these preferences and they're like, oh, I like this or that, in my observation amongst Black people, I've only seen it be a problem when someone prefers light skin or light eyes or straighter, looser, more loosely curled hair. But I've never seen it be a problem when someone prefers like, thicker women or dark skinned women or like hair like mine. Like I've never seen anybody be like, I can't believe that you only prefer women who wear afros. Like I've never seen that happen. Do you all think that that double standard is okay,
It's
or
not a,
or is
so,
it even a double standard? What is
so I don't think that's universally true. If a white guy says I only date black women with afro, I'm gonna have a. I don't know if the community is gonna have a problem with it, but I'm gonna have a problem with it, right? If a light skinned guy says I only date light skinned women, I would not have a problem with it because like it's your cohort, whatever, it's fine. The issue is why for a black man to say I only date light skin is different from I only date dark skin. One is about showing solidarity. The other is more complicated in that I don't know why you would like light skin as a dark skinned black man, right? Not that you shouldn't or that you should, but I don't understand it. The quickest understanding that the quickest justification for me is colonization and ranking based on a historical reality that exists, particularly in the American system and American history, right? But all over the world. So it's easy to just dwindle it down to that. No, I don't have an explanation, but if you have an explanation outside of being colonized and racist, internalized racist, and therefore colorist, if you have an explanation for why you like light skin that doesn't have to do with black women or black people generally and it's not colonized, then period. Provide that and I will shut up. But I've never heard it.
Go ahead, Annalicia.
Not Annalise
Oh,
raising her hand
I
for
know.
his question.
You know.
When I get better equipment, I'll figure out a better system. But first of all, when black men specifically, when they kind of hone in on me, and it's happened where they say, oh, I love light skin, I love green eyes, I love this, I love that. Number one, yeah, they got ghosted. First of all, that was the first and last interaction that I ever had, and that's anybody, any race, but particularly black men. That it irks my soul. I thought that it was disgusting. Not that I don't love my features. I love who I am, and I'm beautiful. So that's
Period.
that. But I understand the implications, and I understand the underpinning of why black men kind of inexplicably, right? Because you do ask, if you ask why, there's really there's nothing. I don't know. It looks nice. I don't know. Like some guys will say, "Oh, you just look good on my arm." Really, really.
White men were
Those are the
corny.
explanations that they'll give, right? So, yeah, no, I agree with Themis.
Jay says white men are corny into other. That was the story being told. Yeah.
It used to be that. It used to be that, yeah. But now, hopefully, black women are realizing that other doesn't necessarily mean cornballs, but we'll see what happens. It's fetishizing, exactly. Like, and I'm gonna be honest. This is gonna sound bad. Darker skinned black men were when they approached me, they almost always led with that. Like they always led with kind of exterior physical attributes. It was never really, oh, I'm sorry, my brush. It was never really, they didn't really scratch the surface. It was, oh, you're light, so you're right. That's my experience. Anyways.
Patty, do you think it's a double standard, or do you think it's just makes sense, or what do you think of it?
When you say that you see people who have a problem with someone dating a light-skinned person, but you don't seem to see people have a problem with someone dating or preferring a dark-skinned person, I disagree with that. I think the problem may be coming from whoever is not being dated. I think that's where the problem is going to come from. So it's probably going to be
Either way.
like, yeah. So to me, it's not a double standard. I do agree with what was said regarding if I see that you have a preference outside of your community, and I don't think I would care what race you are or gender, immediately I'm going to probably think negatively because I understand people usually date who they're around without conscious thinking about it. And people are usually around the same color of people. So white people usually date white people, black people usually date black people. For you to be dating outside of the community, I would need context before I can call it positive. I would probably assume it's negative. Unless you are a black person and you live in an all white community, you're a white person and you live in an all Latin or black community, like people tend to that in my opinion, people tend to date whoever they are around, and that's who they tend to be attracted to.
Can I make a comment real quickly? I feel like I'm the producer because like I'm doing polls, I'm putting up comments, I'm moving things around. This is not my calling. This is not my ministry. Just FYI, continue.
Wait, let me see what polls you put in the chat.
Yeah, how come? I thought we could see the polls over here too. Like,
No.
no.
The poll was whether or not having a certain skin tone as a preference is problematic.
What are people saying?
Currently, we are at yes. 79% says yes, it's problem. Wait, 20% said it's not problematic to have skin tone as your period.
Yeah, I think, preferences, it just like people can prefer whatever they want. I think the biggest issue is when you are speaking down on the people that are not your preference. Like, why do you even have to mention them, right?
Yeah.
Just talk
Agreed.
about who you like. Just go for who you like.
Yeah, if you're a white person and you're like just happen to date black people, I think that's different than like the guy who's like hitting you up in your DMs with the "Hello, my beautiful dark-skinned, melanated, princess-colored cocoa butter woman, you honey dewdrop on the sickle of grass in the like." I think that's those two things are really, really different. But
Yeah, and hopefully black women can differentiate because the outcomes will be very different.
I'm like, wait a minute, you a little focused on the black part, but
So, all right, moving on. You know, I've been in the trenches in some of these online spaces, and I've heard a lot of things that people think and say regarding Black women, regarding the Black community, and the topic of submission and uh, how much money people have, whether they're high value, just a lot of different things, which I'm sure that you all are also familiar with in some way or another. So just thinking about all of that, I started looking at just different, the median income for like Black men.
Before you finish, I was waiting for you to start this segment because I have a curveball similar to what Petty did.
Oh no!
Well, it's not similar. But he interrupted the show to bring you Courage, the Cowardly Dog Show. I want to put something up there and ask you before we get into that topic because it has to do with that topic, right?
Okay.
All right, ready? Annalisa, I don't know, you can come in whenever you want, interrupt me at any point, because I actually do want y'all's opinion on this. Ready?
Yes.
Why are you laughing?
This is perfect. Like, this all goes so well together. Okay.
What opinion were you looking for? What opinion were you expecting?
I don't know. What's your thought? What comes out to you?
I think ASAP is. Am I mistaken, or does he have like colorist comments in the past? So I would think it's weird for someone Black to.
She's leading. Petty, she's leading. She's leading. Okay, you don't see that?
Oh yeah.
Holding the baby, and she's in the front. Like the whole imagery of the whole thing is,
I mean, all of that aside, I think it looks good. I think she's beautiful. I think like it looks really good. I'm gonna be honest, but is there? I mean, I don't know. I'm not doing it.
I mean, I think relationships led by women would be better. Currently, I
So
don't.
y'all don't have opinions, like,
I
all right,
don't, I don't have any negative opinion about that photo.
no
And
negative, good. What is a good opinion? What's your opinion?
so, I mean, I think it's good because Rihanna is more popular than him. She's richer than him. More people know who she is than him. Like, it just makes sense that she would be the center on the photo. I mean, and that's nothing, that's not bad. It's just I've seen a lot of like memes and stuff since the Super Bowl with like with ASAP, like, you know, at home being the caregiver type of image, and then like a caption basically saying he's like a stay-at-home dad type of thing. Just all of that type of stuff. I just don't see the issue. Like they both have money. And
I
they're
mean, they do both have money, but
there is a huge disparity, but but it's not like he's just broke. So I don't see the issue. I don't see the problem.
all right.
I do
So
see
you
it.
don't see, Kay says she loves it. Great. Annalisa, what do you say?
I agree with her 100%. Also, Kay, you're glowing. Do you notice that, or is it just me?
I think it's just you. No.
No, I don't think so. There's a glow. There's something's happening. So I agree with Kay. It's not like she married her backup dancer. ASAP, while his music may be degenerate, absolutely. He has a level of status. He has a level of, a certain degree of wealth. So I think there are levels to this, and I don't think that I don't think it meets the criteria that some people think that it meets, in order for us to really analyze this and come out with something negative to say. I just think that technically it's marrying down. Wait, I don't know what their levels of education are. Maybe high school, but either way, if she likes it, I love it. If she's happy, I'm happy. He's not wholly a scrub. He's not like, there's scrubs, and then there's like scrubs, like school scrubs.
Wait,
And I feel like there are
Gia said,
levels to this.
Gia said, who said Riri is the pillow and the pillar?
You guys are going straight to hell, first of all. Straight to hell.
Miss
Straight
D
to hell you guys
said,
go.
Miss D said ASAP. You don't want to read that one?
Sorry, you had to have been there to know what this is about. But all right, go ahead.
Miss Reed said ASAP always looked like a stud that got pregnant in high school.
ASAP Rocky said he wanted to be taken care of. He wanted a woman to take him out and pay the bills. Y'all forgot this? He said this and he manifested Rihanna.
If this teaches us nothing, the power of tongue. Say what you desire and let it manifest. The Sanderson sisters to moth. I'm late, but the preference thing is complicated. I grew up with, I can't see what that is, so that's who I had crushes on. As an adult, learning more about Black men and how they show up in the world, in the data, etc., added to it. I guess she's saying she grew up around white people. So
yeah.
I mean,
Thank you, the Sanderson sisters. Yeah, and he said he wanted them to buy him flowers and take him out on a date. All right. So I went into the. Do you think this is what is being represented?
The new Black family, SMH, women holding it down and in front while the man is in the back holding the baby, SMH. He's closed-minded. Open up your mind and let the man take care of them kids.
That's not new. Like that's kind of why I don't have the outrage of like, oh my God, a Black woman is leading and has more. Like, I'm sorry, when in history has it not been this way, more or less? Like, this isn't new. Black women have been the backbone. Black women have been the breadwinners. Black women have been the bosses. Black women have been the disciplinaries. Black women have been like, I mean, this isn't new. This is just a Wednesday, guys. Like, let's keep it real. It's just the scale is much larger because Rihanna's wealth is just it's immense. I think that's the only difference. It's always been this way. Except for black men that were not carrying babies. They were creating babies down the block with somebody else. So there are some differences.
I'm watching DDG and I have a video coming on that, CJ. Let me leave that alone. Before I go and give it back, sorry, Kay.
No problem.
Do you guys think this is a subliminal message to the Black community? Because I haven't seen this. Anyway, let me stop. I'm not giving any opinion on this.
I don't think it's a subliminal message. Well, I don't think it's a message of any sort. No, I don't. I think people are going to interpret it as a message, which, I mean, we saw the comments. So, but I don't think it's a subliminal message.
Yeah, that comment about the new Black family, like new, which is definitely what this topic is about. You know we live in a patriarchy, just the country, the whole thing. But as it relates to the Black community, would you all consider it a matriarchy?
Nope.
I would.
No, it's not a matriarchy. It has never been a matriarchy. The Black community is not a matriarchy. Anyone says that, Petty, is lying. It is a failed patriarchy. Maybe
it can absolutely be both. In fact, there is a whole
women are not leading the community.
You don't think so?
Nope. Women are trying to help the community, but leading it, they are not.
I do think the women are leading the community. I would also agree it's a failed patriarchy. I think it can be both.
Right. How are women leading?
So I think you're disagreeing with
following women.
When I'm thinking of leading, I'm thinking of the ones raising the children, the ones who are owning the homes, the ones who are providing for the households generally. So getting the education, like when I think of the role that Black women are in, I think they're in the male role in the way that a man would be in the patriarchy.
No. Well, maybe, but that people are trying to hold together something doesn't mean they're the ones leading it, right? So are people following Black men? Like, are people in the Black community following Black men? The answer is yes. They still dictate relationship. Black men still. Kevin Samuels had women showing up on his panel to get judged by him who have never had a successful relationship, right? Like, women still follow the man. And so the men don't follow women in the Black community. Women still follow men. The children don't even follow the woman who raised them. They're online dragging them and still following the absent father. In the case of absent father, not all of them. Sorry.
Well, go ahead.
So I think that where we're going to deviate, Petty, is the distinction between a failed patriarchy and a matriarchy. So if you think about a patriarchy, it's not that men kind of conferred with women and they were like, hey, do you want to lead? Should we lead? Men took it upon themselves. They superimposed themselves into the positions of patriarchs and decision makers and lawmakers and legislators. And women tacitly followed. In the Black community, Black women are superimposed into positions they wouldn't ordinarily be in, positions that they don't want to be in. Whereas men, kind of creating the standard, wanted to be in that position for reasons of, for the attainment of power, social status, wealth, so on and so forth. So there are distinctions, and those distinctions are important because obviously the outcome is going to be vastly different. Women leading, women building, women kind of holding up the Black community with floss at this point because it can't be done. They need their counterparts, right? Like Black men and Black, people need to work together. So they're sort of what's this? The phrase is that they're failing upward or they're falling. I
want to clarify. I don't disagree with you that it's a failed patriarchy. I would still refer to it as a Black matriarchy. This is also the term. I believe this is the colloquial term that we refer to when we are referring to Black American families that are mostly led by women.
Yeah, right, the reason I reject matriarchy is the leader needs accountability. And I'm absolutely not about to sit here and say women are supposed to be held accountable for the state of the community. And the reason I'm not going to do it is if people were following the women's rule in the community, we would be doing better.
Yeah,
They're
but I
following
also
men
acknowledge,
too.
I keep
And
acknowledging that
if people were listening to women, Black women, then I would agree with you. But because women, men, children are still following culture that's propagated, culture that is facilitated and created by Black men, because Black communities are still following and adhering to culture that Black men facilitate and create, because Black women are still looking for men to lead, even though they're failing. Again, it's cause and effect. One's being imposed upon them, whereas a patriarchy, in the true sense of the word, that power is taken. It's not given.
All right, super chats. I feel like we ignore super chats, and every time we should always force them. Petty is mad. Go ahead, Petty, if you want
Concern
to
said,
read.
I just hope they don't get married and she remains mindful of child support in the future because ASAP could have an end game. Yeah. The Sanderson sister says, we pretend it's a patriarchy so the Schmins can remain delusional. Ja Hendrick says, an archy is a system, patriarchy, monarchy, etc., control of the resources. Black women still have to go to the white man for resources. Failed patriarchy, that's it.
Agreed. Fully agreed.
Concern says, Black women give up leadership every time. Ask for the space.
Yeah, Black women aren't leading. They're not trying to lead. I think it is called a survival. And to abdicate your role, if it is your role and you believe it to be your role, to give it up and then say, oh, look, the women are no, you failed.
That's fine. I think we'll define leadership differently.
How
I
do you
don't think
define leadership?
Okay,
I mean,
we can
No,
Petty, even if we're
wait,
defining
no.
leadership differently.
We haven't heard Petty define his leadership because I'm curious.
for one example, if you're raising a child on your own, I do believe you are leading that household. If you're in the household, you're the adult and you're leading the child, then I believe you're leading the child. We can
Agreed.
talk about why you guys are saying that Black women are.
No. That you are leading the child in your home doesn't mean you are the leader of the child when that person goes out into the world. Also, because you lead one child in your home does not mean you control the culture. So when you say you are leading the child, you are mothering, you're parenting your child. So yes, I will concede leadership in that aspect. But are the children following you? Can the children pick who they want to follow? Is that person or group that they're following a kind of leader? If yes, are those people that they're following men or women? And when we talk about the culture, who sets it? Sorry.
I still acknowledge that it's a failed patriarchy. I do believe the children can be seeking out to be led by men, even when the men are failing to lead, while the Black women are left to actually lead the children. I believe both of these things can coexist. And I don't believe that by me calling it a matriarchy, that I have to now not have the men be accountable for having a failed patriarchy.
No, but I'm trying to understand when you say it's a matriarchy, then what do you mean?
A term for a Black American family that's led by women, or mostly led by women if the men is still present.
But you keep saying family, but a patriarchy, when we're talking about systems, power, control, resources, that's what we're talking about. So if we're saying a matriarchy, let's remove government from it, right? Let's talk about social organization where at the head, it's the woman making the shots and calling the shots for how things operate. Are the women in the community, and I know the manosphere like you to believe this, but are the women in the community the ones calling the shots for the Black community? Like, think about that.
Maybe for the Black woman, I mean, I would split it. I think for the Black girl community, yeah. For the Black boy community, it doesn't seem like it.
But even for the Black, all right, so we split it. The Black boys, you were saying yes.
For the Black community, you know, I'll concede. I'll say no. As a whole.
Are you conceding just to concede? Because the last time you conceded,
no, for the Black community as a whole, no. For I would have to separate it. I think you're right for me to call it a matriarchy.
It sounds to me, I'm sorry, it sounds like you're conflating the job and responsibility of a parent versus the job and the responsibility as
This is how Black matriarchy is defined. I'm going by that definition.
right, but we're a patriarchy. There are like we're also recognizing that in a patriarchy there's social and political power associated with it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what social and political power do Black women have in the Black community?
On Black women, I think a lot.
No, as a general matter.
Yeah, I conceded.
Yeah.
Okay, so
For
I
the
just want to
entire
say,
community.
No.
Petty, I don't want you to confuse being a parent and having to take on more than you're physically, emotionally, mentally capable of. I don't want you to conflate that with having influence over a community, having social and political carte blanche or social and political power. You're kind of conflating two separate.
But so I mean, the issue that I have with even feminist writers do this, but a lot of people do it. They tend to use Black matriarchy in the way that Petty is using it. And I think that is fundamentally flawed. You don't create a subcategory of what matriarchy means to apply to the Black community so that you can say, oh, we're only talking about who is heading the family. If these men leave the family, and 70% of kids being born are born to single mothers, you've created a definition where, yes, you can blame women for it. It is absolutely wrong. And the fact that like Black feminist writing traffics in this way is annoying. This also is why I don't like the manosphere and how they don't engage in intellectual rigor in any meaningful way, because if they did, feminists would be their biggest friends. The specific Black feminist scholars, and the feminists are now mad at me in the chat, but it's fine. ZB says the Black community is deja vu. The Black community is a matrifocal community in which in essence is a hyper patriarchy. Matrifocal societies leave the majority of the work to the mom, with the father often absent, still the authority. Exactly. This happened. I'm pretty sure this happened before. This is deja vu.
I think that, Petty, we're like principally opposed when it comes to this matter. I don't think we're going to move the needle in any direction for you.
I mean, he can see that. I don't know if the confession is real.
I mean, I agree with you. I did read Black feminist writing, and there is negativity around it because, for what you said, people disagree with the idea of a Black matriarch because it can be used in a derogatory way. The women can be called, oh, they're threatening the man's position of the family, and this can be used to excuse bad behavior. I agree with that. I think I have the nuance and understanding to not do that. If you disagree with people making up pretty much a new definition of matriarchy for the sake of applying it to the Black community, then I agree with you, but I was going by that definition.
Yeah.
So what will have to happen? So what has to happen? Themis, you mentioned it being a failed patriarchy, which I can agree with. I can understand that. But we see that women are, stepping up in areas where they have to, like out of necessity, right? What is going to have to happen for things to improve as it relates to our community and the place that we're in relating to like leadership and who's doing that right?
The patriarchy has to stop failing, or you have to actually create a matriarchy, right? Or you can just turn to different groups of men for leadership. Do what you want. Erica De Niro TV always says, decenter men. For it to be a patriarchy, men would have to be decentered, right? I don't know if that's possible. I don't know how you do that. My advice is for men to be better. I think we should stop thinking about matriarchy or patriarchy and start thinking more about sort of an egalitarian society where people involved are fully respected as human beings, and the word submission just completely disappears from vocabulary. But I'm a fruitcake, so what do I know?
Yeah, I
Living.
think with all the things that are affecting us as a community, I think there is no room for us to say, "Oh, this is a matriarchy. Oh, this is a patriarchy." Like at this point, everybody just kind of needs to do what needs to be done
Yeah.
to improve
The
things.
black community, the black community is not a patriarchy or matriarchy. It's a
Mm.
and I was reading this thinking like this was gonna be like a period. I was reading about pimp culture the other day and I was like, ooh.
Petty,
Sultry
another.
Love Child says evidence that Adam and Eve were black. When confronted with accountability, Adam blamed a woman.
True.
Mhm.
Petty, you were about to say something, and I know Annalise, I see your finger, your your hand going up. Patty, what were you about to say? Do you
I
remember?
think
I
I,
don't think anyone said anything negative about Rihanna up here, right?
No.
I mean, well, we
Absolutely
didn't talk
not.
about
Hold
her
on, let me just
performance,
let me just
so
say
it's
something to Africa. Listen, I won't allow any beyond. Sorry. Well, yeah, I won't allow any Rihanna slander. Okay, I loved her performance. Themis, if I was around you in real life, this would be your neck.
Okay. Can I
For real.
address
I
this?
saw those
Can I
posts. I
address
said, you know
this?
Oh
what,
yeah,
Themis?
yeah.
Not
All right.
today,
So
Themis.
the reason why Rihanna got strays, essentially. So I said Rihanna and I did my little emoji. And someone had the audacity to reach out and said if I said anything to Rihanna, they were anything negative about Rihanna's performance, they were gonna unsubscribe. Now I didn't like Rihanna's performance. I still like Rihanna. Rihanna is a billionaire. She doesn't have to perform. That she performed is good, right? Oh no, it wasn't good. Y'all can be mad. They weren't paying her. She didn't feel like she has to perform. She has a child. She's with child. She has a child. She's with child. She's tired. She doesn't even look like she wanted to be there, right? But as an audience member, I didn't like the performance. So I can say I didn't like the performance. The problem with this is when I saw these racist people coming out talking about how this is the worst performance they've seen, I realized that you cannot, it feels odd to me that people were just wading in the corners to just dunk on this woman. And then realizing that I also added to that annoyed me to no end. So I actually was making a video, like I'm gonna post it tomorrow. I decided to write a blog instead, and I'm gonna post it. The issue that I have fundamentally is it is okay to critique art. I don't mind critiquing art, but I do have a problem when racism shows up in the criticism that is geared towards certain creators. I don't like that. We can have a bad day, we can have a bad performance. When Donald Trump is going to tweet like, this is the worst performance I've ever seen, it's like, wait, girl, wait, hold up. You've seen Taylor Swift, you've seen Harry Styles' performance. Rihanna's performance was better than Harry Styles' performance at the Grammys. So, like, this is not the worst we've seen. So, I do have a problem with that. I still don't like the performance, but I don't like the racism coupled up in there. I don't like that. Sorry.
Annalise.
I will say that a lot of people who are kind of unloading the clip on Rihanna. Sorry, how many times has Trump been pregnant again? Like 1, 2, 3. How many times? Yeah, they've never been pregnant before. So that's the problem that I have. If you haven't been pregnant before, absolutely not. I don't care if you don't think she should have done it. It's not your place. It's not your place to say what she should or she shouldn't do. At the end of the day, her brand, everything has
No,
it's skyrocketed. It was advantageous.
women need
It was
to.
fiscally beneficial for her. She did what she wanted to do. She did what she felt she needed to do. But if you have never been pregnant, don't talk to me about getting on a stage and what
On the
people should or shouldn't do.
on the pregnancy bit, I do think women have a responsibility here. Y'all need to stop talking about pregnancy is beautiful and how this is so amazing and it's a gift and it's the best thing to happen to you.
No,
And
but
it's
it
good.
is. It is.
Even if it is, it feels really strange. Say it what it is. There is a parasite growing in me that is
But
destroying
truth,
me.
no, that's not fair. fair because two things can be true. You have first of all, pregnancy, you go through stages. In the beginning, you could be throwing up. You won't have an appetite to eat absolutely anything.
Even if you're not, you should do it. You should
Right.
say.
But here's the reality. Every woman's pregnancy is different. Pregnancy is an extremely individual and intimate experience.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, regardless of the woman, if you're on stage and you're performing, unless if you have never been pregnant, don't tell me how she should move her hips or her waist with a human being in her body. That's it.
Agreed. But I do think that we, like, as a culture, we need to be careful with women who are pregnant, and we need to treat them with respect. And I think there is this like, oh, pregnancy is just like this, or it's so easy, and blah blah blah. And I
Who
feel like
said that? No, Themis. Who said that, Themis?
What do you mean? Who said that?
I have never heard anyone say, "Oh, my pregnancy, that baby just walked out of my cervix." People don't say that pregnancy is easy. Pregnancy is the most difficult. There's nothing more difficult than pregnancy.
Y'all have not read Feminist Writing. I know y'all have not read Feminist Writing because
maybe not me. No.
Because feminists want us to believe that there's no the pregnancy has not. It's just fine, and obviously it's deeply personal. And for some people, it's just like great. But I do know for some people, it's like literally taking them out of their entire life in order to take care of that. So for me, it's not that I'm not telling women how to engage, but if I were a woman, my pregnancy is you're going to treat me as if I am I am going to need all the help I can get, and it's harmful, it's killing me. There is something growing inside of me that is sucking the life out of me that I could die from engaging in it. Nah, you're going to act accordingly.
Be that as it may, all of the difficulties that pregnancy entails, again, two things can be true, three things can be true. Pregnancy there's nothing more difficult. There's nothing more stressful. It is very difficult, but it is also very beautiful. You get to the finish line, and even there are moments even throughout your pregnancy where you have out of body experiences where you're like, I'm carrying a human being. There's absolutely nothing more important in this world than to be able to do that, to feel that.
Okay, I'm not arguing. I cannot speak for women. I would never argue what it should and should not be. I'm saying politically, you want to farm depending on what you want as a woman, and then what the larger group wants. It is men are looking for a reason, and maybe you don't want to convince men, and if you're a feminist, you're like, why do we care about the male gaze? That's fine. But it feels odd that on one hand there's like feminist writing like, oh, don't judge this woman, she's not unable to perform how she wants to perform because of pregnancy. It doesn't mean anything. She's just having a pregnancy and it's going to be fine. And then on the other, it's like, well, no, maybe we have structured society in a way that does not cater to women but caters to men. Maybe there needs to be policies in place around pregnancy specifically, and how to care for women who are pregnant, because women who are pregnant deserve, in my mind, care. And I think I would prefer for political activism to the latter, where we care about it and treat it differently and meaningful and create systems that concern pregnancy, as opposed to the one where like women pregnancy means nothing. I don't know. I don't know, but I think politically.
Now we're having two completely separate conversations. I'm just talking about Rihanna's performance, and now we're talking about political.
If you think those are two separate conversations, again, I don't think you understand what I'm saying. If you think these are two separate conversations.
I understand what you're saying, and I'm only talking about, if you're talking about a more broader political and social implications, then that's fine. But it's still separate from the conversation.
How did we get here? I don't know.
Quickly go through the super chats. Hayo Haji says Rihanna gooped the girls, took all their money using colorism, skin tone inclusivity, and then had a baby with a colorist, praying for that baby. That baby has a 875 credit score, I'm sure. I think the baby will be fine.
Don't play with that
Slander. Natalie Allen says team tubal litigation.
Jesus.
Ligation, not litigation.
Kiki says, what's good, panel? Petty, the homies have boundaries. No clue what that's about at all. Concerned says, we also have to name that by centering our fragility at that time, we leave ourselves vulnerable to workplace biases and social danger.
Okay, so I agree with this.
Yeah.
But that's the problem. I don't think society, people think that the way society is now is neutral. It's not. It's society centers something. Right now it centers men. Workplace centers men, right? And
We know,
maybe
but we know that, Themis. We've been discussing patriarchy for like half an hour. We know.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is there could be a world where it is beneficial for people to take time off to have families and come back, or like we can restructure the ways in which we evaluate performance if we're just thinking about value added. And I don't think, even in a capitalistic society, I don't think the more hours you work, the more value you add, right? And so if we're thinking about a new system, I don't see why we can't think about how women and pregnancy, and even if they're being fragile in that moment, some taking advantage of time off and catering to them and caring for them, how that is antithetical to a productive capitalist system.
Why don't people just be decent human beings? Decent human beings, whether you're pregnant, whether you are an elderly person.
We're talking about policy changes to meet bottom lines, right? And this is the fundamental problem that I think leftists have with capitalism and people saying we need a socialist society, because productivity in the way that profit margin is center becomes the center for those systems. But I don't think it is necessarily true that capitalism requires a male-centered focus, right? It is going to take some imagination, but I don't know. I feel like we can rethink a lot of this, but I do think political activism need to be focused when women are asking for specific political action from elected officials.
All that to say that Rihanna's performance was great. Her and the baby that baby in her belly, they did their thing.
Lady M says, Rihanna says she's preggers, rich, and ain't got time to be doing all that. I'm here for it. I just love preggers.
Wait, pause. How can you be agreeing with Lady M while saying the performance was amazing?
That's for you, Anna.
I know. Because I understand how it feels. So
yeah,
so for me it's relative, right? Like if she was pregnant.
No, okay, so you were saying cut her slacks, she's pregnant, but you can still say the performance was bad.
Yeah, black men are doing.
But I don't think that it was bad.
When I
thought that it was bad, I would say that it was bad. I think that
you said Rihanna said she is preggers, rich, and ain't got time to be doing all that. I am here for it. I just love pregger bellies. Dancers were amazing. This is accepting that her performance at best was lackluster. Like,
maybe it is for you. I don't take it as that. I think that Rihanna.
Can I provide an example?
Oh my God!
Black men in a vacuum. If you take someone making $30,000 to $40,000 a year, that black man is probably doing average or well. If we actually look at all communities in America, specifically white men, they're actually doing quite poorly. So by you saying they're doing very well for, he's doing very well for a black man, though, then that's kind of ignoring that there is a better reality out there. So Rihanna, sure, she's doing well for a pregnant woman, but that you have to quantify it with for a pregnant woman, I feel like
right. But I don't understand how we can have a conversation and you cannot separate the fact that she performed and she's pregnant. You can't do it. She performed pregnant. That's the bottom line. Period. She was pregnant when she was performing. She performed pregnant. You can try to separate the two, but it can't be done. I'm not separating the two. I'm dealing with what's in front of me. I'm dealing with what I've seen. And it was, for me, I thought that it was good. You guys can say whatever you want. At the end of the day, for me, if a baby's never been in your belly, I don't really care what you think. That's fine. Have your opinion about her performance. But again, you can't separate the two.
Aren't her performances always, kind of chill?
I've never seen her perform before. That's the truth. That's the first time I've seen her perform. Like, I've seen anything from her. I listen to her music, but I don't watch her.
I find it interesting that the defense is, oh my God, Rihanna was pregnant, so she didn't really try, or like blah, blah, blah. And then you're like, I say it wasn't that good. And people are like, oh my God. It's like, you agree, you just don't want to say it.
How do you know she didn't try?
Well, if that's her trying, she should definitely.
Have you been pregnant? Have you tried to get up and dance in hundreds of feet up in the air? Who's tried to
No one told her to be 100 of feet in the air. She made this design.
No, but how can you quantify whether she tried or she didn't try? How do you know how much energy she put into every move, every step that she made?
Fair question. I don't know if she did or did not try.
That's what I'm saying.
No, that's not it. Whether or not she tried, it wasn't good. If she tried, it wasn't good. I am giving her credit to say she didn't try. But even if she tried, it wasn't good.
Okay. We'll agree to disagree.
I mean, we art is subjective. For me, it was not good. It wasn't the worst performance in the world, but Rihanna did not perform well to me.
Right. Okay. Well, we'll agree to disagree again.
I thought she did good.
I mean, we're not agreeing to disagree. We don't. You think she performed well. I don't think she performed well. There is nothing to agree to disagree with. That's your opinion.
Okay. Well, then we disagree. Right?
Yeah.
Gia Homit says Themis is saying women aren't leveraging 100. Heyo Haji says she's having brown babies with a colorist. Money doesn't fix that.
Right.
Casey says, pregnant or not, Rihanna was going to do the same thing.
That's what I was thinking. Like, she kind of, and I don't see
as if Rihanna has ever been a performer. Like,
I've never seen Rihanna perform. When has she performed like that before?
Rihanna performed at the Grammys, and those notes were not sticking. But I do love her because she is a vibe. Rihanna has, in my opinion, lost the passion for music, which is fine. I am okay with Rihanna, like all these other people, just sitting and making money. I love that for her. I don't argue about whether or not she deserves or don't deserve. I think it's okay to sit there and make your money. I'm here for that. But I'm not going to pretend like Rihanna is a vocalist. I'm not going to pretend like Rihanna is a dancer. I'm not going to pretend like Rihanna is a writer of music. I'm going to tell you that Rihanna is a vibe. It is what it is. I actually really love her, but that performance was net for me. So
I was entertained. I was good. I thought it was good.
The dancers went all in.
That's why it was so noticeable. And of course the sign language interpreter. Ultimate Enigma says Barbados is colorist. ASAP Rocky is just one more.
The Caribbean is very colorist.
Yeah,
it's disgusting.
Drop Jamaica in there.
And Trinidad, it's disgusting.
Lois R says that baby is literally sitting on her bladder. Not only can she not move, twerk, and gyrate like that, she might actually pee on herself if she's not careful. I love Rihanna and Fenty Cosmetics. But do y'all see how y'all are quantifying it? Like, if there was a man in a wheelchair playing basketball poorly, obviously, yes, it's probably because of the wheelchair he's crippled. But I'm not about to pretend like compare it to a able-bodied person, he probably is going to play basketball worse. Now, good for a crippled person.
Comparison in the first place. Why are you making the comparison in the first place?
Because we are looking at someone playing basketball, regardless of what their status is, and saying this is bad.
Right?
You are quantifying it. No. I wouldn't quantify it. Key says, wait, let me get through these three. Key says the performance was just like her wine.
You guys are absolutely, it's absolutely disgusting. disgusting.
Miss D said Beyonce. Beyonce slayed pregnant. Rihanna was yawn.
See, I think people are expecting a Beyonce like performance from Rihanna when we've never it. She's just not the same type of performer as Beyonce. Like, why would people expect more than what she was doing before now? Like, why?
When she's physically incapable, like, why?
Yeah, we can acknowledge that. I understand why it was what it was. I'm not saying that she should have got out there and spun on her. You're on mute. I'm not saying she should have got out there and spun on her belly or something. Like, I understand why it wasn't all out here, but I'm not about to pretend like, wow, that was the most amazing thing ever. She just,
I never. That's not what I said. Nobody
Look,
up here
we
said
got
that
to
was the
move on
most
from this
revelatory and
soon.
amazing performance that anybody ever saw. I said she did her thing. I said that it was good. GOOD. Nobody came up here copying a plea.
no, because when we
The fact
said
that
it was bad,
you can
you
only
did it.
operate.
I'll give you that.
The
I'll give
fact
you
that you
that.
can only operate within two extremes, which is it was amazing or it was not.
I didn't say it was amazing. I just said I didn't like it.
Yeah, well,
He
I
was
don't
just said he
live in
didn't
that
like
world.
it.
Sorry.
So you did come up and say you didn't say that, but when we said it was bad, then you started, oh, well, she's pregnant. What do you want her to do? So it was you who added quantifiers. Casey said I did a little seated wine and head bob. It was cute. And Natalie says, didn't people accuse Bay of faking her pregnancy?
Yeah, people are weird. People are so weird.
Wake Up said I skipped her super chat. I need to. Well, where is it? Well, if one of y'all can go find it. And Lady M says the performance was A- because of belly, B+ without belly. But my bad. I don't want to get too off topic, Kay. Apologies.
I mean, you know,
Kay. I'm sorry, Kay.
Again, this is gonna segue perfectly, kind of, into the next topic, just because it's about kids. And you know, Annalicia, you were talking about how much women go through during pregnancy. Not every woman, of course. Every woman's pregnancy is different, but you know, just that sacrifice that you're making with possibly your life, your health, just all the different things that could possibly happen to a woman when she's pregnant or during delivery and then raising the child and all of these different things. So the next thing we're going to talk about is adult children going no contact with their parents, and thoughts and feelings about that. Petty, can you play the clip about that?
Absolutely.
Thank you. Why is it silent?
Because he didn't click the sound.
Run it back. Put the sound on.
It's giving struggle stream.
Wait, y'all can't hear it?
No.
Here, let me try and
struggle stream.
I'm sitting here. I thought we was all engaged.
And then as we were talking about that, we couldn't hear it. Petty just sitting there. I was like, does he know that we can't? Yeah, we couldn't hear that.
Let me try again.
Parents wonder why their adult child won't speak to them. That's because you love with conditions and you're proving that you are in a safe space. You also don't care about changing your behavior. So why would your adult child that's already fragile, who's stuck between the decision of loving you or actually walking away for good, give you any type of trust? That's not going to happen. And some of you toxic parents have caused pain that's so deep that you've actually ruined the relationship between you and your child for good.
Can we go back and just say, did you see that bone structure? Period. That's all I saw. Period. I am here for it. I did not hear what she said. I did not hear what they said.
Oh, okay. Let me.
Also, don't care about toxic parents wonder why their adult child won't speak to them. That's because you love with conditions and you're proving that you are in a safe space. You also don't care about changing your behavior. So why would your adult child that's already fragile, who's stuck between the decision of loving you or actually walking away for good, give you any type of trust? That's not going to happen. And some of you toxic parents have caused pain that's so deep is you've actually ruined the relationship between you and your child for good. Toxic.
Yes, we all agree. We are all on one accord. She is right. She did what she needed to do. She said what she needed to say. These toxic parents, I'm sick of them. Finally, someone is speaking up. We might not even need to discuss this topic. We're all on one accord here.
But is it always the parents' fault when adult children
Yeah.
show no contact? Is it always the parents' fault, or is it ever like, look, you need to be more understanding or whatever like that?
The child be more no.
Yeah, like Annalicia, go ahead. And Patty, I expect for you to have a lot to say about this because you have those views about parents owing their kids, but kids not
owing them.
Weird.
Oh yeah, that's right. What I will say is,
what in the world? What?
Can you guys?
This
Okay.
is a struggle. This is a struggle stream if I've ever seen one. First, it's Petty can play this. Then it's Annalisa going dark.
Wait a minute.
Nakia says,
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah. You just blanked out for a minute.
I'm sorry. So what was I saying? Oh, that's right. So I don't think it's always the parent's fault. And the reason I don't think that is because sometimes when you have one toxic parent and a parent who isn't toxic, it's called parent alienation. And if a parent is successful in alienating a child from the other parent, from the non-toxic parent, that child might cut off all contact and communication with the non-toxic parent as a way to appease and acquiesce to the toxic parent, who for whatever reason they may be connected to or trauma bonded with. So majority of the time I would say yes, but in the case where there has been a contentious divorce or a contentious separation, parent alienation can sometimes have that effect.
I don't know why people keep calling me out. I am known in my personal life for cutting people off. Like I don't do toxicity. I don't care if it's a parent. I don't care if it's a friend. I'm not the person to be going back and forth and yell and try. No, you're toxic. I'm done.
Nakia says, if children go no contact the moment they're old enough to not have to listen to their parents, it's 100% the fault of the parents. Thank you. KC says, I'm beyond blessed that my parents and I have worked on our relationship, but I was 1000% prepared to live my adult life without it if needed, and I wouldn't have felt bad. Snaps, all snaps.
Yep. I'm in agreement. I don't do toxic. Like I just no.
I think usually it's the parent. I think usually there are some extenuating circumstances, but usually if your adult children just want nothing to do with you, something had to happen. Like in my opinion, I think that is usually the case. Not every.
Are they ungrateful like Petty, where even if the parent were good, they just
I knew it.
Petty.
I will say though, love is conditional, and I think that extends to the parental and child dynamic and relationship. Love is conditional. This whole thing where love is unconditional, I'm gonna love you for no. If you treat someone poorly, you're not deserving of their love, their adoration, or their respect. If you are toxic, if you are abusive, if you're exploitative, if you're manipulative, if you are chronically engaging with someone in a way that is extremely detrimental to their mental health, their physiological health, their emotional health and well-being, that's you need to get cut off. You need to get cut out like malignant cancer, because that's what parents, siblings, and friends can sometimes end up being. They can make you physically sick because they are so toxic. You have to cut them out of your life. Love is conditional. Sorry, boo.
Mm-hmm.
So if lovely ladies here from my Discord, I need your permission to use something that you sent on the Discord. Sorry. Because you were talking, Annalicia, and this man did something online about children and love and conditional. And I really, really want to show that. We were talking about it on the Discord all day today. Sorry.
Patty?
I of course agree with look, Annalicia said cut them parents out like a cancer. A cancer. Well, you are in rare form, Annalicia. Well said. Well said. Like a cancer. That's all. That's all.
I'm sorry. I didn't say if you have parents who love you, who take care of you, who provided for you,
Okay.
who insulated you throughout your
Y'all not
life,
gonna
that
straw
you
man
should
me like
discard
I've
them
been
and
up
cut
here
them out like malignant
slandering.
cancer. Don't do that.
What y'all are not gonna do is straw man anything that I've said. I've never
No,
come up
you're
here
not
talking
gonna do
about I
that
hate
to
my
me.
parents. I'm gonna cut them off because they're stupid and I don't like them. Like, let's not straw man me today.
Okay, well, like I said, there are caveats to this. It's predicated on a certain premise, and situation or circumstance. Don't just cut people out of your life for no good reason. Like, nobody really does that. If people are good to you, be good to them. That's a general rule in life. That I don't care if it's for people on the street, if it's people in your interpersonal relationships, romantic relationships, family. Be good to people as a general rule. Let that be your baseline. And when people mistreat you, the way one of the things that I like to look the way that if you move left, you get left. So if you move left with me, you're gonna get left. If you move right, we'll be good all day, every day.
Can I, on this topic, can I show something?
Mm-hmm. You got permission. That's the thing you were talking about?
Yeah.
Okay.
Can someone read? This happened today too.
We don't admit it, but it's a slap in the face to watch women love their kids unconditionally, especially when men give but don't receive the same type of love. Heartbreaking, actually. Since y'all acting confused, let me dumb it down. Men want unconditional love the same as women, but it's not something we usually get. And yet it comes second nature to women when they have kids. A bittersweet experience for men. Not saying I want you to treat me like a baby. What?
Not he said. Not he knew I
Wow.
was gonna be confused.
Wow.
What? Like,
Wow.
I think that is very, like, it's giving, I'm jealous of my children. Like,
Weird.
it seems very strange.
I wonder if he's in the house with those children.
That would be very dangerous. It's giving, I want you to treat me like a baby. Like, I love when they say, I'm not telling you to treat me like you're telling me you want me to treat you like a baby. You want me to literally sacrifice my life, my time, my love. You want me to invest in you emotionally at the highest clip. Like, yes, you want to be my child. You want to be my baby. You want to suck on the teat too. It's very weird. It's selfish. It's narcissistic. It's myopic. It's that's weird. What is wrong with you? What is wrong with you? Someone didn't love you enough when you were little. That's the problem.
It is very weird.
That's weird. Yo,
but
listen.
I've seen that sentiment shared online multiple times. Like, I think there's a group of people who think that way. Maybe a small group. I don't know how big or small the group is, but there are definitely people who think that way. And I absolutely agree that it is very strange.
Yeah,
what the hell is wrong with them? What, like, you put that online? Sir, do you have no shame? You have no shame.
So we all agree unconditional love shouldn't be a thing, at least when it comes to something that's not your kids.
Unconditional love is not a thing. It's not that it should be or shouldn't. It's just it's not. It's not. That's not a sustainable framework to approach a relationship.
I conceptualize love differently, so I can. Period. Thank you. I love the beer logo. Anywho, I conceptualize love differently. So I can love you unconditionally while holding you accountable. So like I don't believe my love is conditional, which is weird to say, because like I love you and I will love you, but it don't mean I'm gonna do anything for you. Like if you do something wrong, I'm not about to jump. Like I don't know what people think when they think of love, but maybe I just have a different conception of it. Because like
I think
if I have my child, I love you and I'm gonna send you the person if you did something wrong. Like I'm not. So I don't know.
I think of love the same way, Themis. It's a feeling that you can have. It doesn't necessarily have to manifest in certain actions. I think a lot of people conflate love with, whatever. But people love people all the time. Like they have that feeling, their brain lights up, whatever on the scan, but they don't treat them well. So it's not necessarily that it's always connected with certain actions, even though a lot of times, we want that to be the case. Go ahead, Annalisa.
I can also love you. You could be on Mount Kilimanjaro and I can love you. You could be very far away from me because you're very toxic and I can still love you. But again, if someone is detrimental to your life, I'm not talking about being in a relationship. Like, I think that those are separate. I'm talking about being in relationships with people that you love, who may not necessarily love you, or being in relationships with people who you love, who treat you poorly, or who abuse you. That's the framework that I'm working from. And in that way, it absolutely is conditional, because love to me, love is about reciprocity. I think the basis and the foundation of love is respect, reciprocity, and so that sort of dynamic where it's I guess one's giving and the other isn't. That's not love. That becomes more exploitative. That kind of that highlights a power imbalance that's not love, in my opinion.
Themis, since you think of it like a feeling the same way I do you think that you should put in more effort for people that you love, like your parents? Like if your parents do something toxic and you want to cut it off, do you feel like, you know what, these are my parents, I love them, so I'm going to put in this work that I usually wouldn't put in for a friend or something like that? Even though you could love your friends too. But.
No. It's hard because like I don't, how do I put this? I cannot, this is going to sound sad, but I cannot think of a world in which I don't try to meet my mom and dad and like have a relationship. But the truth is like, I don't know if that like, because like I can't imagine it, but like I know me, and if I am who I am currently, if you're just a bad person or toxic person, I'm not about to have a relationship with you. And it's not because I hate you, because I can still love you, but not engage with you, right? And I can love you from a lot of my friends from uni. We are still friends and we don't even talk, right? And it's not because like they did anything bad. I can go forever without talking to people I care about, and that's weird. I think for a lot of people, but like love.
I'm the same way, Themis.
I'm the same way too.
Yeah.
Love you.
Look at us. Patty, are you the same way?
Yeah, look at all of us estranged from our friends.
No, like I haven't spoken to my friend in a year. Called and we just like nothing happened.
Yeah,
I don't like when people are like.
There are some people in your life where you could go 5-6 years without seeing them, and then you see them, and you don't miss a beat. It's like riding a bike.
Yeah.
The bond is there, the love is there, the depth is there, everything is there, the foundation is there because it's set, and it's like you're catching up, and those are the best friendships. The best, because they don't take umbrage with the space and the time, right? They're not offended.
We're done. Our friendship is done if I have to like every time we haven't talked for a long time I have to explain it. Like no.
Oh, yeah.
I can't do that.
No.
That's exhausting.
You have to understand this about me.
Exhausting.
Yeah.
That's exhausting.
Well, let's see what the super chats have to say. We can't pretend that some children aren't just ungrateful and entitled. Those children
Yep.
don't exist. It's probably the parents.
Petty. Excuse me, sorry.
Okay. Annalise, say that again. It's conditions over here. My friend came out as an atheist and his religious parents disowned him, but he still feels like he owes them. Look,
No, if you disown me, that's fine.
Like-
If you disown me, we're good. We're good.
Annalisa said,
Bye.
a cancer. Cut them out like a cancer. That's what Annalisa said. I'll repeat
Don't
it.
do that. Don't try to. Don't. This is not. I didn't give you a clippable moment. Okay. There was
Anyway,
context. Don't play with me, Penny.
toxic parents aren't owed anything, period. I'm speaking from experience.
Oh, we agree, boo.
Treat me like a baby, but I want to be in charge, okay?
Patriarchy where? Sorry, patriarchy where?
Why do black men compete with everything but other grown men? They're competing with babies now.
Baby.
They have no shame. They have no shame. It's embarrassing.
Lois says, when I finally told my daughter that I was tired of her being rude, mean, and disrespectful to me and would knock the ish out of her if she did it again, she cut me off. I've been at peace ever since.
Whoever that person was, I forgot. They're in timeout. Like, you are in all the timeouts. Like, you can't comment for the rest of the night. Go ahead.
Look, I don't like the implication of these comments talking about y'all don't like y'all kids.
Where has that been implied?
Oh, wait. When I told my daughter that I was tired of her being rude, mean, and disrespectful to me and would knock the ish out of her if she did it again, she cut me off. I have been at peace ever since.
If you get loud and rowdy with me, I'm gonna physically assault you. That's what Kevin Samuels used to say black men should do to their wives. That's not the type of thing I want to instill in my children.
Now he's worm food, so there's not a lot of dialogue to be had with.
No, I don't do disrespectful children. Period.
Nor
Yes, you do.
and
But
no
we
one
don't
should
have to
be
threaten
disrespectful.
people who are
The thing is,
disrespectful.
I just want to say one thing. Sorry, if you allow a child to be disrespectful, it doesn't just reflect poorly on you, but you unleash that child out into the world, out into society. It's not just humiliating because it is a direct reflection of where you failed. But then they become a problem for society. They become a problem in their intimate romantic relationships. It's just a problem. You have to address that in the home. Period.
Are we comfortable? So we're comfortable with saying if my child gets loud with me, I'm going to physically assault them.
That's not what anybody said here. Like, why do you go to extremes?
I'm gonna knock the ish out of her. I can't think of any other scenario where somebody says I'm gonna knock the ish out of you and we don't consider it physical violence.
Right, but if first of all, we don't have context. We don't know how old she is. She said that her daughter has been.
We don't know why he said he was going to do
her
that.
Her daughter is mean. Her daughter obviously doesn't have any respect for her. She might.
You understand? This is nearly verbatim an argument that Kevin Samuels made for an excuse to be abusive towards women.
Again, I'm going to punch you in your face.
That
might be a boundary.
Period.
Well, I'm gonna stick by what I said. Y'all are giving KS today, and that's what it is. Casey says they don't want unconditional love from a partner because that's not possible. There must be conditions in a romantic partnership. What they really want is grace, but again, they don't know how to communicate that.
Casey, what people should give is what they receive and see how they like that. Treat them how they treat you.
Is there another one?
That's all.
No. So with the the tweets that you showed, Themis, and also this whole discussion about kids and their parents and whatnot, it just reminded me of something I saw on social media. I saw someone make a post and it said something like, must be nice that even though Tupac's mom was a crack fiend, she was still considered a black queen. You know those lyrics from Dear Mama? So he was like, must be nice. And I was just thinking like, okay, so do y'all think that mothers are given more grace than fathers? Because I think that was the direction that the conversation was going. And
These
people
men will defend the dad who is not even physically present, crapping all over the woman who raised them. It is not even close. It is not even close.
Because when I saw
grace is extended to the parent who's absent, who doesn't participate, who has not contributed, and gets no smoke. That is grace of the highest order. It doesn't mean you don't employ more grace than that. You can be absent, you can be neglectful, and also I'm not going to acknowledge it. That's grace, boo. That is grace. Whereas you look at your mom and you say, oh yeah, she's a single mother, she's struggling, she's doing the best that she can, but she's falling short because you cannot raise a child on your own. But everything in your life is her fault. All the ills of society, all the ills in the community are her fault. Yeah, no, that is grace. That is great. If anything, if we're talking about fathers, like fathers who are present, that's different. I would also say that kind of sort of in this cultural or familial zeitgeist, women tend to do more. So women tend to do more. Women tend to be more active. Women tend, and we can talk about the sociological or the cultural reasons behind it, but women do more when it comes to rearing children. They carry the emotional burdens more than men do. So I think that if that is the case, it's justified.
I think it's grace. I think it is a lot of grace, probably too much grace to blame the one that's there trying and not the one that disappear. But also, it's weird because like a man will be in their child's life and you will see them with a stroller and everyone is like, for the bare minimum. Like there is not, it's not even just a Black thing. I think this is a thing just generally in America, but particularly in the Black community, which is what I'm familiar with. It's just like, nah, I'm good. Like, women do not get a ton of grace. They don't. Men do, though.
I think it's really strange when people blame the mother, like the parent who stays around or is in the house doing the day-to-day things, for all of the ills of the community or whatever, because that would imply that the man not being there doesn't matter. Like if you aren't going to address like, oh, in this situation, the mother is there raising the kids and the father is not there. If you're not going to address the absence of the father, then that means that you don't think it's important if they're there or not, right? Yeah. Like, and I don't think people understand when they say, oh, it's all women's fault. It's all women's fault. You're really saying that it doesn't matter if both people are there or not. I think that's really weird that people don't make that connection. Annalicia?
I also think that men in a very weird way are kind of trauma bonded with their father, even when they're absent, because a lot of the time when they're absent, they still see themselves through their father, right? Because he's a man. Boys don't see themselves in their mom, right? It's like, I'm not feminine. So any attributes that they might have, any characteristics that they might have, they're still going to, I think they're still going to see themselves through their father. And as a result, I think that there is a sick trauma bond. And I think that trauma bond makes it very difficult for them to engage with reality. I think it makes it very difficult for them to engage with, honestly, with what it means for their father not to be there. I think what it means objectively is that in most cases, he didn't want to be there. That's what it means. And I think that a child coming to terms with that, it's traumatic. I think that it can be emotionally and psychologically destabilizing. And I think it's easier, and because you still see yourself in your father who is absent, you don't want to see yourself negatively, right? So I think it's easier to employ cognitive dissonance. I think it's easier to just to kind of create, as a way of insulating yourself, an alternate state of being or thinking or understanding your father's absence. It's trauma. It's trauma.
I mean, the realities people think they have are something caused him to leave, which is easier to accept as opposed to he didn't want me. And I think the he didn't want me part is very difficult. Like, I empathize with people to the extent that they don't want to admit to themselves that, look, your dad just didn't want you, girl. Oh boy.
Why do you think it's easier for people to, or I don't know if it's easier, But I guess the narrative of like daddy issues, from what I've seen, is more often put onto girls and women than boys and men.
It's
Do you-
again, it's like it's like the boogeyman, right? Like if men are not acknowledging it, it doesn't exist. It's not there. If my father's absence doesn't have the impact on me that you think it does, if instead that impact comes from my single mother, it doesn't exist. So it's just again, it's a serious psychological and emotional cope. It is like it is of the highest order. You don't see anything like that really in life. Like you can't cope with the fact that your father did not want to be there. And there are some people, even when they're confronted with the truth, they'll still go through the sort of mental gymnastics to convince themselves otherwise. Even if a parent comes out and says, "Yeah, I chose drugs, or I didn't want to be there," or whatever it is, people will still they'll live in denial. And men have daddy issues, but again, my dad's not here, so by default, it must be mom. It has to be mom. But no, your daddy left a void in you that is not going to be filled by weed, alcohol, hypersexuality, promiscuity. Like, no, that void was left by your absent father. The trauma was facilitated and left by your absent father. Your mom just tried to pick up the pieces. She did the best that she can. Of course, she failed. It can't be done on your own. She needs help. Mother, like, you need a village, you need a community, you need a safety net, more than one social safety net, an economic safety net. It can't be done with one person. I don't know who the hell men think women are, or who you think they should be. It can't be done. Sorry, that's not the world we live in. It's disgusting. Like, and Fatima said that women in general don't get grace. Women in general, because women have been able to kind of grab life by the horns once opportunities have become available for them, like education, voting, working. I think the expectations placed on women are they're unsustainable. It doesn't even make sense to me. But women do not get the same grace that men get. But mothers in particular, as a sort of class of people, they don't get grace. It's you succeed or you fail. There's no gray, there's no determining variables. Doesn't matter. You're a mom. Sorry, the deck is stacked against you, and there's no grace.
So who put the comment on screen? Okay. Would you like to talk about that, sir? Why you put that on screen?
I would like you to respond, Petty.
Why are you selecting men that don't want to be present? Well, is she asking me that?
I'm asking you. How would you respond to a comment like that?
I don't think you can vet something like that until it happens. I do think there are reasons people might select who we think are obviously bad people. Specifically in the Black community, I can't call something a trauma bond or anything like that, or like how Black girls are socialized, I think, into what a lot of you guys refer to as Black male worship, and that can be from an early. Like, I think there are reasons why people might not select for better partners, but even if you did, I don't know that that's something you can vet, which you guys have talked about a lot before.
Like, even marriage is an amazing thing, and it does, depending on who you marry, it does provide a level of protection and insulation and sort of economic advantages. But even marriage can't guarantee that a man is going to raise his child. Not in a marriage, can't even do that. We can get into the specifics of it all, but again, women don't always go into it like, oh,
so that's actually,
you're a bad guy, you're not going to raise our son or our daughter.
The comments on
I choose you. That's not what's happening.
The comment is gone now. I don't know where it went, but that's really interesting when we're having a conversation about how come people would rather blame single mothers than absent fathers. How come people would rather blame women than men. Like, that's actually a really interesting comment because, again, you talked about it when I brought up the matriarchy. You're acknowledging that there is a problem, and the problem is in the person who left, but people are here, even in these comments, focusing on the woman. So, I mean, that was interesting. I mean, a spade is going to be a. Anyway.
Right. No, that's, I'm going to underscore that point again by acknowledging, yes, the issue is even where we're saying the man left, dropped his duty, and is not being the father to the child. Even in the case where the dad is not being the father to the child, you're still trying to blame the woman for choosing that man. You can blame her for doing with him and being with him, but she is there taking care of her child. He's the one not there, and you're blaming him for not, her for not picking right. No, you blame him for not being there. Like, this doesn't make sense. And then we're gonna argue. No, both of them do not play a role. This is ridiculous. Both of them play the role in conception.
This is the car analogy you've used before, right? Like, you wouldn't go to a judge after someone robs you, and the judge is like, okay, well, he's going to jail, but also you need to go to jail for a little bit because why did you park in a dimly lit area? Why didn't you park closer to the store? So, I mean, it doesn't make sense.
And I also like the way that we kind of hyper focus on choosing better rather than focusing on being better. Why don't men choose to be better, choose to be a better father, choose to be a better man, choose to be a better husband, a better brother, whatever it is? Why is the onus on women to choose better when the starting point should be for humans, specifically men in this scenario, to be better? Isn't that a baseline that all humans should like aspire to? Why is the focus on what women should do?
You both created the child. You are both to be blamed for the creation of the child. You now have a responsibility to be a father. If you don't want to be a father, you have failed in your responsibility to be a father. It is that simple.
You also failed in your responsibility to keep your DNA inside of your nutsack, because that's also your choice. That was your choice. You keep your DNA in your body, no baby. Sex does not mean baby. For Black men, maybe it does. But again, they skip that class, the reproductive health. They skip the class, obviously.
I'm not even engaging in that. I'm just engaging in the responsibility part. You now have a child. You need to be a father. You need to be a mother if you guys are a heterosexual sort of relationship. She's being the mother. You're not being the dad. I'm going to blame you for not being the dad. I
don't think after the fact, you can't say, like, why didn't you choose better? Like, after the child is here, they need to be taken care of. Now, I do understand, of course, if your friend is asking you about someone with a bunch of red flags, you're going to be like, no, like, there are a bunch of red flags. Of course, like, what are you doing? Whatever. I get that. I get, trying to look out for those red flags and avoiding people based on certain things. I get all of that. But, like, after the child is here, the person who is choosing not to take care of the child is to blame for not taking care of the child.
Africa Pop is saying echo chambers are great. The problem is, even if I put you up here, you're going to say the same thing. It's going to be debunked, and then we're going to have a long conversation to end up at the point that we are. How do I know this? Because we've had the conversation before with you specifically. We can read the super chat and end.
Ultimate says, no contact with my family. I'm not their retirement or catch-all, cash cow, damn culture and religion. Comfortable over here with my disposable income. Yes, we're here for it. He says, I said what they want, not what they deserve. A woman at work the other day blamed mothers for Black men becoming killers because the mother was the one that raised them. I was disgusted. It's giving who was the Fox
absolutely disgusting, these women. Disgusting.
Where's the offering plate? Because Annalicia.
Love you.
Get a vasectomy, practice abstinence.
Yeah. You and Pamela, you guys can get on all night, baby. No children.
And Nikea.
Oh, like, who is Pamela? Okay.
Kamala.
Kia says many men attach their duties as a father to access with the mother. When the mother left the relationship, the father left everyone. Yep.
And can I just say something? Because that makes sense when we just read the man baby's comment about wanting to be babied, about wanting the attention and the focus to be on him. Like 1 + 1 = 2. You guys come up and tell on yourselves everything, like for the world to see. You have no shame. Where's the shame?
That is all the super chats.
Man,
Thank you guys for the super chats. Thank you guys.
Look at this, 159.40. Perfect. Just 15 seconds. All right, we are right there at that 2-hour mark. This has been great. Yeah, go ahead, Themis. It looks like you were about to say something.
Oh
No?
no.
Oh, I thought you were about to say something. All right. Any final thoughts, anyone, before we get out of here?
Yes, I apologize. I realize what I just said might have come off rude. I can't hear it back in my head, but it's kind of exhausting. I've always open have conversation. Name calling is awesome. Sorry, I've never did I name call? I don't think I name called, but I am exhausted of repeating conversations over and over and over and over again. And I it's frustrating because I'm okay with it as long as I think there is growth. Either I'm changing my opinion or you're changing your opinion. But if we're just like clashing, like it is what it is. Annalise and I just butt head about Rihanna's bad performance, but so she slid it in there. But it wasn't even that bad. It was fine. But like I know her and we're not going to change each other's mind on this. So move on, live our lives. It's fine. You think women should choose better and it's their fault. I don't. And I don't feel open to having that conversation anymore. Right? When we have an open panel and a like smoke week or day or whatever, y'all can come up and bring it up and I'll engage with it then. We probably should have next week be a smoke week apparently because everyone has something to say. But whatever. That's it.
Listen, Petty and I we can disagree. It's always going to be love. Just like the chat, just like Petty, just like Kay. We will have times where we vehemently disagree on a topic or a position. But again, it's love, it's respect. We'll be here next week doing the same thing. We appreciate all of you guys coming out. We appreciate the super chats. We appreciate the love and the engagement. Kay, you did your thing again with this show, and I told you that it was going to be immaculate.
Yeah.
I told you. It went so smoothly, and to anybody saying, "Oh, Ella didn't change. She still does. She's still loud and abrasive. She's gonna people up." Next week will be better. Okay.
Wait,
what?
Someone just pointed out that we didn't even touch the salary thing that is like the thumbnail. We have to redo the thumbnail.
We said
my biggest fear. This is what
we literally said that. You see?
We have to redo the thumbnail.
It got derailed because we started talking about something else during that whole matriarchy conversation. I forgot what we started talking about, but
y'all wanted to argue about semantics.
No, we wanted to argue about Rihanna. So apparently.
Yeah, okay. I'll take accountability.
No. It wouldn't be you. It would be you and I. That conversation was too long.
It was an amazing show, regardless. Amazing.
Yeah. I just wanted to point out that y'all were comfortable with children being physically hit.
I'm not. My stance about that is always the same.
I've never hit a child in my entire life. Someone cut his mic. It's over. Like curtains closed for Petty. You can't be saying that online.
Y'all, we are on camera. Y'all understand?
Yeah, cut his mic. No, we don't. We do not hit.
Oh, he's talking about that comment. He's talking about the comment.
Yeah, the comment.
No,
y'all didn't say it, but y'all didn't.
Leave Riri alone. Y'all deserve 5 straight years of Taylor Swift help. No, we don't. No one deserves it.
There we go, honey fire. Thank you.
This may be an unpopular opinion, but I'm not saying Taylor is a great performer. I don't even know. But I
Oh God.
I don't like I like Taylor Swift. Wait,
Oh.
This
I
is
don't understand.
when it comes
Okay,
to Taylor
okay.
Swift.
Taylor Swift has grown on me. I love
See?
hard workers. Here's why. She's not a good singer, performer, or dancer. She's an okay she's a good writer. I like her as a businesswoman. I, I I like people who I think are studying whatever craft, and her craft is the business of music. Whatever she is, or whoever is on her team, is top tier. Like that girl might own the industry when she's done. Like it's that serious. Like I'm watching her moves, and it's that serious.
Yeah, she's.
So she's coming for B spot. Is that what you're saying?
No. Taylor Swift or Duster can never.
I don't agree with Kanye on much, but our views on Taylor Swift are probably similar. Lois says she's 30 years old. I don't think that responding to words with physical action towards adults is any better than with children. So
Um,
I think she's just trying to differentiate between a child and a full-grown adult. Your frontal lobe at 30.
Yeah, but her comment was, if she disrespect me, I'm going to put hands on her.
Yeah, I don't think that like beating someone is ever the answer to a verbal altercation.
If you do think that, you're more aligned with KS than you might have thought, because that
Who are
was
you
something
talking
he
You're
about?
talking
advocated.
about beating a woman versus a child. I don't think you should be beating anyone. Before I beat you, I will give you up. I'm not about no.
Listen, I do not. Let me be very clear. Hitting your child is you are going to traumatize your child if you hit them.
The
I'm
Bible
sorry.
says, "Fear the rod and
I'm
spoil
sorry.
the child."
Listen, do not hit your children. Not only are you going to traumatize them, but you're also going to socialize and condition them to believe that a way of resolving conflict resolution is to use your hands versus words versus having a conversation. Don't ever do it. It's ever. I don't.
There's so much
Not even slapping the hand. I don't believe in that. I've never done it. I would never do it. But that commenter was talking about a 30-year-old. So
Well, I guess
I'm going to leave it there. I'm not going to say anything. Violence is never the answer. But if that's a boundary she feels that she needs to create for herself.
Wait. So are you guys saying spanking is not okay?
I'm saying that.
I'm saying that.
I'm saying that too.
Yeah,
Right.
I think I understand.
I never got
I will note that.
He
I don't
said,
have children, so I've never spanked anyone.
This is the university that that's the social, the liberal.
I can think of some things that my child could do. If I had a child right now, they would never. But I can think of some things they would do that I would spank. So
I don't think that I don't even think that
I won't have children for now. I will.
You wouldn't even hit your kids. Honestly, I don't think that you would. I can't even see you doing it. So.
And it's just
I hope I can like if my child slammed the door in my face and yelled "F you."
That's such an extreme. But the way that you would raise
a child, you had that scenario ready. Like, look, this is
right. The way that you would raise a
statistically,
child.
this creates abusers.
I have personally seen this happen, and I'm like, first of all, how did it get here? But I was like,
Themis, the way that you would raise your child, I don't think that it would ever get to that level.
I hope so.
That's like disrespect on. That's really bad. I don't see that happening. I don't see Themis hitting his kids. Themis can talk that talk all he wants. When he sees his precious baby, he's gonna treat it like the most fragile,
my precious baby better
thing.
not slam that door and yell "F you" to me.
They won't. Don't worry.
Period.
So y'all are comfortable with violence. He says, if you're okay, if you're okay with punching your child, be okay with jail. Yes, straight to jail. Lock them up, throw away the key. It's illegal in my state.
It's illegal in my state.
But I think I understand at least where Themis is coming from. Even though I guess violence against children is considered acceptable as opposed to adults. So I mean,
since we're still here, can
violence
we just talk about this thumbnail topic real quick? I mean, we're here, we're still talking. I know we're 9 minutes over, but
Let's
But-
go in the after show. Let's play this weird music first and go into the after show.
Start coming.
So, you know, while I was looking at that Department of Labor information, I'm like, you know, the disparity between Black men's median salary and Black women's median salary is very small. It's like around maybe somewhere near like $4,000, $5,000 per year, something like that. But every other racial group that was listed there had a much bigger, like around twice the size, or around that disparity between the men and the women. So what is this saying? And the trajectory looked like women were moving up in terms of salary. So will this present a problem to
Welcome,
people?
WL. Sorry, Kiana, welcome. Sorry.
Hello. Will this present a problem to the people who, talk a lot about hypergamy and a lot about
What do you mean, will it create a
value?
problem?
I
The
mean,
median is where it is because the men who make money in the Black community make a lot, and the average actual liquid cash men have that can spend is not a lot. And on average, based on cities, a lot of women already started out earning men, Black men, and Black women have been dating. Black women have been dating down both financially, intellectually, that is academically. So they're not even admitting that yet. So when women start out earning on average nationally, I don't think the rhetoric is going to change. I don't foresee them caring about a stat. They don't care about it now, so I don't. I don't think they're going to care about it later. I'm sorry.
I think the rhetoric might become that Black women are the new white men. Like Black women are oppressing them, and
what do you
Black
mean
women,
the new rhetoric? Isn't that the rhetoric now?
No, Black women are the white men. They are the white men. They're the white men because they're the builders and the providers. Yeah. Okay. So It's nothing changes. Never mind. Sorry. That's sad.
someone asked what the numbers were, and on that Department of Labor website for the graph went only up to 2021. Women were at there you go, $46,543 median, and the Black men were at $50,187 median. So you can filter for which people you want to see on there, because I know that's a lot of lines. But is that? Oh yeah, okay. So yeah.
Let's white women, Black men, and Black women. So white
The
women.
last report I read had it at a $2,000 difference. I don't have that up.
Is it something more recent?
Huh?
Is it more recent?
It would have been between 2020 and 2022. It wouldn't be 2023. But yeah, I mean, 4,000 is fine. Like, not fine, but like it's too close. Not even too close. It's close enough.
Yeah, it's very close.
Especially if we look at the blue line, that's white men and white women's difference.
Yeah.
Which they have a difference, it looks like, of around 10,000. Black men are around 3,500. So yeah, quite close. Is this going to create a problem with hypergamy? I agree with Themis. It already has. Well, in the Black community, other races, it looks like, are also catching. Well, I don't know if we can call it catching up, because that's a big gap. But the gap is closing, I think, in all races. It's just Black women seem to be the first ones who are going to outpace, which doesn't seem to be a secret. What I wonder is this going to create a difference in gender norms and providership? Well, in the other communities, I think obviously we have what we have. in our community. But do you think something like this widespread is going to cause a shift in the way that we approach relationship and marriage?
Nope.
I don't necessarily think so either.
Like black men, the stat says that black men who makes a lot of money tend to not be dating black women and not marrying generally, and having long-term partners with black women just as a general matter. So like on the upper, the men who are making enough here aren't the ones dating black women and marrying them generally. So like no one is, it's weird. But when we look at the people who are making less, they're the ones we are expecting to change the rhetoric. And they're not about to change the rhetoric because they're already not currently making more. You know what I mean? Like we're in a world where black women are not hypergamous, and that alone should be indicative of kind of a cultural shift in the conversation online. But it seems like when they say modern women, they're talking about women in the West, including black women, which does not make sense because black women wouldn't have fit into the stereotypes regarding hypergamous and blah 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 whatever. It does not actually, it does not work when we're talking about the black community at all.
Yeah, I don't even know why. Like, I don't understand how people just overlook the fact that black men and black women almost make like around the same amount. So like, why is this even a conversation that's happening when it's just not applicable to most situations that people are in?
Because they're delusional. They identified with Johnny Depp. So like
Concern says, let's name that the same people we learn choose better from also believe black women's standards are too high and justify abusing women who try to leave.
Like, this is it. I think that you should leave that comment there. I know it's cutting my face off, but leave that comment there because that encapsulates what's happening in the black community. This is it right there. They're so logically inconsistent. It's so hard to take them seriously. It's so hard to engage them in any meaningful discourse because of this. It does not make any sense.
Yeah, no, I mean,
and that's black men in a nutshell. I'm sorry.
I will end mine by adding to that with the Johnny Depp thing. It's the argument does not make sense because black women are hypergamous and they're marrying up and blah blah blah. But also, after a divorce for custody, black women can hire an attorney, but black men can't. Like, so the woman who doesn't have a job and doesn't make as much money as you is able to pay for legal counsel in a way that you can't. Something is wrong with your paradigm. I talked about this with the debates, people engaging in the debate today at our meeting. It is absolutely weird. It does not make sense. TLA need to go sit somewhere because none of it makes sense.
The lead adulterer needs to shut the hell up, number one.
Yeah.
Number two, again, they're welfare queens. They're getting free Section 8 housing, food stamps. Their children are wards of the state. Like, there's no logical consistency. There's no congruence. There's no congruency in their positions, in their arguments, in their worldviews. They're delusional. It's delusion. Shut the hell up, lead adulterer.
All right. Well, that's my time. That's Annalicia's time. Okay.
We love you all.
Time too.
I love the glow. Gotta talk about the glow.
I'll end by saying I do think the gender roles and how we approach relationships may be shifting. Maybe this is something like most things where when it hits the black community, no one cares. But then once it starts broadening, suddenly people start calling it out and seeing it, right? We've seen the research that men are getting lonelier because women are getting more money and they're finding a lack of suitable partners. You showed the picture.
I like it. I still like it.
You showed the picture. Yeah, Rihanna and ASAP. Look at them breaking gender norms, having the woman lead. I do think it's going to be revisited specifically because it's now going to be affecting other communities.
Yeah,
Probably not.
More mainstream. Yeah.
I agree with that, Patty.
Yeah, me too.
I hope.
W take. Finally.
I think femicide by non-intimate partners will increase because Black men will increasingly view Black women as competitors for resources who are also easiest targets. Well, they viewing children as resources too, based on, children as competition based on
Yo,
what we read.
it's a scary time. It's scary out here. Treacherous.
All right, we have made it. Adios.
Bye, guys. Love you guys.
Not Miss.
What?